All right, today we are diving into a financial strategy that is so big, so ambitious. Its goal isn't just to build a company, it's to actually rewire the foundations of the global financial system. We're talking about the playbook for MicroStrategy, and it's aimed at a target that sounds almost impossible, $1 trillion valuation.
So let's start with this question, because this is really the whole idea in a nutshell. What if the path to becoming the most valuable company in the world isn't about creating the next iPhone, but about building and controlling the future of money itself? Let's get into how that could even be possible.
You see, this entire plan is built on one massive, audacious thesis.
Here it is. The core theory is that MicroStrategy, by having this laser focus on one thing, acquiring and leveraging Bitcoin, can reach a scale that just dwarfs even the biggest tech giants we have today. I know, it's a ridiculously bold claim, so let's unpack the logic behind it.
And look, this idea isn't coming out of nowhere. It's actually grounded in a historical pattern. Think about it, from the Bronze Age to the steam engine, all the way to Silicon Valley. Major leaps forward tend to happen when a society finds a better way to store and then deploy its wealth. The argument is that we are living through one of those moments right now.
To really get what MicroStrategy is doing, you have to wrap your head around what might be the single most important concept in all of high finance: collateral.
Collateral is basically the bedrock of all credit. It's the security deposit of the financial world. And if you have the best security deposit, the safest, most desirable stuff, lenders will literally line up to give you money at the lowest possible rates. And this right here is where Bitcoin enters the picture for MicroStrategy. Think about traditional collateral for a second. You know, stuff like real estate. It comes with baggage. You've got leaky roofs, property taxes, it's slow to sell. Government bonds have their own set of risks. The theory here argues that Bitcoin, because it's digital, absolutely finite, and can be moved anywhere in the world 24/7, is basically a near-perfect form of collateral, one that has zero operational headaches.
And that brings us to the end game. Because in capitalism, it's pretty simple. The person or the company that can borrow money cheaper than anyone else has an almost unbeatable advantage. They can outbid, outlast, and outbuild every single one of their competitors. So how does MicroStrategy plan to turn owning the best collateral into a world-dominating company? Well, it all comes down to a self-reinforcing cycle they've created, a financial flywheel.
Okay, let's walk through this, step by step. First, MicroStrategy accumulates Bitcoin, constantly adding to its giant stash. Step 2, it creates financial products, things like convertible debt that are backed by that Bitcoin and pay out a regular income, or a yield. Step 3, investors who are hungry for that reliable income buy these products, which gives MicroStrategy a ton of fresh capital. And Step 4 is the genius of the whole model. They take that new capital and they use it to buy even more Bitcoin. This makes their collateral base even stronger, which lets them borrow even cheaper the next time around. The wheel just keeps spinning, faster and faster and faster.
Here's a really powerful way to visualize what's happening. Think of Bitcoin as this rare, super dense raw material like star metal. MicroStrategy is the forge, taking this raw stuff and crafting it into refined, polished financial tools that Wall Street can actually use. And these tools, like their debt that pays a yield, become like satellites, and every new one they launch just increases the gravitational pull of that core asset.
So what happens when this flywheel starts spinning really fast? Well, the consequences aren't just about one company getting bigger. The theory argues that it could fundamentally change where the entire world chooses to store its wealth. Now, to get this next part, you have to understand something called the monetary premium. It's basically the extra value we give to an asset just because we use it to store wealth. It's the reason a house is worth more than just the cost of its bricks and lumber, and why gold is worth more than its use in electronics. It's the value we add when we decide something is money.
For decades, real estate has been the world's default piggy bank. Trillions and trillions of dollars are parked in property, not just for a place to live, but as a kind of financial battery to hold value over time.
And the exact same thing is true for government bonds. For over a century, they've been the basic plumbing of the financial system. You know, the safest place to park cash and earn a small but reliable return.
The thesis here is that all of this is about to get turned on its head. If a new asset comes along that offers better safety and a higher yield, capital's going to do what it always does. It's going to flow from the old piggy banks into the new one. This massive migration of capital, that's what's meant by demonetization.
And this all leads to the final, and honestly, the most ambitious part of MicroStrategy's whole plan, becoming not just a huge company, but a fundamental layer of a new financial world.
Because here's a fundamental truth of capitalism. Having access to the cheapest capital
is the ultimate cheat code. It's the ultimate competitive advantage, whether you're in real estate, tech, or anything else. And that's when you realize the true goal here isn't just about hoarding a digital asset for its own sake. The long-term vision is to build the platform, the financial switchboard that the rest of the world has to use to access this new form of capital.
And this quote just captures it perfectly. The ultimate ambition is for MicroStrategy to become an institution on the same scale as the world's biggest asset managers. You know, your Blackstones and your BlackRocks, but built on top of a new digital foundation that they happen to control.
Which, of course, leaves us with the final question. Is what MicroStrategy is doing truly the blueprint for the financial system of the future, a masterstroke of capital allocation, or is it simply the single biggest, most concentrated, highest stakes bet in corporate history? The answer to that question is probably going to define the next decade of finance.